And we're back, and joining me is Dominic Dezzutti from here at Channel 12, Vice President of Content. That's a very fancy title, sir.
It's a very fancy title.
That is. All right, here's what I wanted to do. I thought we had this great opportunity. Caldera's gone. Right. I'm hosting. You're here. I've been producing this show now for, I believe, coming on 9 years.
Right.
You've been putting it together and putting it on the air for a long time.
We have been proud to present, maybe I should say,
we have been
presenting. Yeah.
Right, fair enough.
No, before it was called Devil's Advocate, it was called Independent Thinking.
Right.
And that began its run on Channel 12 back in 1997.
Wow.
With host Tom Tancredo. Right before he ran for Congress. Then we had, was it John Andrews?
John Andrews.
And then even David Kopel hosted for a while. Right. And then without anybody left available.
If you look, and if I actually look, John makes sure that everybody knows who the host is.
On every single shot.
On every single shot. So what I thought we could do is something completely self-indulgent.
I love it.
That we could take this opportunity to hash out all of our many grievances against John Caldera.
'Tis the season for grievances.
No, actually, I'm kidding. It'd be fun to do, but we don't have enough time. It'd be like a Festivus celebration. Actually, I just want to talk about the Channel 12 does this really great public affairs programming, local programming, right? And this would be, how big a part of your mission is original programming, public affairs oriented? I mean, how much what you do is this? I mean, how big a obligation is it to your obligation as a PBS affiliate?
If you go around the nation, I think every public television station has some sort of public affairs service, whether it's a program or some sort of news. But I think Channel 12 is among a very small cadre of stations that is bold enough to go out on a limb with some opinion. And I think that's the key difference between our public affairs programs and things that you might see in other cities. And I don't want to knock any of my sister stations out there that don't put a lot of opinion out there. And there's certainly some times going to be nice people.
Then I'll knock them.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example of why I think this is fairly unique what we do. And that I was in Seattle. I was at my parents' house flipping through channels, and I come across a PBS affiliate, right? And they're doing a public affairs show, and it's a guy in a suit and tie, knotted very tightly, talking to the state transportation director in a suit and tie, sitting very stiffly in their chairs in a set that looks like something Walter Cronkite would have sat behind in the 60s. And it was horrible. I mean, they were so afraid to show any sign of emotion or any spark of opinion about anything that I thought, oh, people, this is what this looks like in lots of other places. And I said, thank God that we don't do this. Because here's the trick. Here's the challenge I face as the producer of the show. It needs to be informative.
Yep.
It needs to be about public affairs because you do public affairs here at Channel 12.
Right.
We're a public policy think tank. But it also has to be entertaining enough that people don't flip the channel when it comes on, right? And so we try to walk this fine line between being a little cutting edge, informative, and have a little fun with it. And that does seem to be a little unique in this world. It's
definitely unique, and I think you hit the nail on the head at your last point. Have a little fun with it. Because let's think about it. Some of the best reporters that we have that are legends in this town, Patty Calhoun, Lynn Bartles when she wasn't the spokesperson for the Secretary of State, they have fun with it. You get to see maybe a little bit of their opinion, but it's not like it's clear bias. It's just the fact that they are like you and me with some opinions.
They're people. They're human beings, and they're real people, and real people have real feelings and opinions about things.
Right. So that should be part of the dialogue that you present as a public television station. There should be some emotion about it, some passion, some disagreement. There should be people that are like, I cannot believe David Kopel said that. There's no possible way that he could be of right mind. And I can't believe Penn Tate said that. That's terrible. Or, thank goodness, Patty Calhoun was there because that's what I think too. That's how you get people to hear their own voice on public television, by offering a lot of different ones.
Is this a lot to do? So CIO, Colorado Inside Out at 8, Devil's Advocate at 8:30.
That's our power hour.
Is a full hour? Is that a lot in your industry?
You know, we've had histories where we've had more. We had certainly an era in the early 2000s where we had most of Friday night. We even had a Wednesday night program. It's ebbed a little bit to just that power hour right now, although in election season it grows quite a bit. We did Colorado Decides and we did Both Sides of the Story, our high school debate program. So it sometimes will kind of go up and down, but the 8 o'clock hour on Fridays has been constant now for a long, long time.
Yeah, before I used to actually do a live public affairs show.
Yes, that was on
But
Wednesdays.
Have you ever, I mean, that must have been slightly terrifying because God only knows what could go wrong, especially taking phone calls. Especially with a guy like Peter Boyle's fielding calls, my God.
Being live without a net is an interesting experience. It's television as a roller coaster. If you like roller coasters, it's a wonderful experience.
The other thing about this particular show, and this is more has to do with how we've just formatted it and put it together, and the fact that the host is that this is almost exclusively an unscripted.
Yes.
And I thought
clearly,
clearly,
we have John Kildare involved.
He just sits down in the chair and starts talking. And when I took this job, and by the way, I took a different job at Independence Institute, but producing the show just happened to be part of that job, and so I didn't even know what the hell I was getting into. But I thought that was, oh, okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense because that's just the way it's always been. But my guess is that's probably pretty abnormal.
It is abnormal, and frankly, it's a little intimidating. I tend to take it for granted. I've been here a long time. I'm in my 20th year officially here at Channel 12, and I'm grateful for the experiences we've been able to have here and what we've created with the programs. But being unscripted can really be intimidating, and especially with shows like this one and with CIO, because we can cover just about anything. The conversation can go anywhere. So there are some folks who have had a lot of trepidation coming into the program. Now, they've done marvelously once they got here, and they get through their nerves, and they're just fine. But it can be intimidating because it makes you do a little bit of homework. You have to read the paper, read the website, do a little bit of something so that you know what might be coming at you.
I've actually had like public relations people or publicists emailing me and say, hey, yeah, so about this show that so-and-so is coming on to next week, can I get a list of questions? I go, no. I said, we don't. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I can give you a vague outline of what might be discussed. I said, by the way, it could completely change while you're chatting, while getting mic'd up and made up. And they're just kind of thrown for a loop by that. And I go, well, sorry. I mean,
oh, yeah.
I said, no, it's just not going to happen because I'd have to go down and ask the host, what do you want to talk about? And he's going to be like, well, I don't know, what are we going to talk about? And so it is intimidating to a lot of people, but a lot of people seem to thrive on it.
Yes.
And I also think it makes it interesting because that intimidation, we like to bring on a lot of people who are not professionals at this, or they're not policy professionals, they're not politicians, they're not lobbyists, whatever, so they'd be used to coming on and speaking in a broadcast environment. In fact, we bring people on who've never been on television before in their life to tell these interesting stories.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing I always hear is they all, to their credit, they all think they did horribly, but they all end up doing very well. And so I think that if you go on television like this show for the very first time and walk out and go, man, I killed it. There's something wrong with you, right?
That's when you know it went wrong.
Something went horribly wrong, or something wrong in your head, right? You got a pretty high opinion of yourself. So I've always found that people always think they do worse than they did because this is intimidating. And in fact, I find myself watching myself going, why am I looking over there?
Right.
I don't even know what the hell I was thinking.
Yeah.
And not even sure what I said there.
It's funny when people watch themselves afterwards. They catch us because usually it's not live. It was live to tape, but not live broadcast, and they catch some of the details. But frankly, that honesty, that real person, I think is part of that key attraction that you talked about these programs. You have real people, you have some honest opinions that isn't something you can see every day. It's not something you can see on every channel. And because of that, there's a certain attraction, and while it can be a little nerve-wracking for folks that are brand new, it's endearing, and I think it has a real credibility with our viewers that it's hard to substantiate, but it really is there.
So, running out of time.
Yep.
Basic question. Considering the paltry sum of money we pay you to air this show.
No, wait. Let me clear the no. You don't pay us to air this show. We produce it in our studios. We have to pay all these poor people that have to watch the show every time.
Crew.
Yes, we actually have professionals working the station. No one pays for airtime on Channel 12.
Oh, we're paying for professionals.
You're paying for professionals, yes.
Why do you continue to put yourself through this then?
We're somewhat masochistic. If we get all the different calls we have about, my favorite letter I have in my office right now is, why do you have John Kildare on the air, this right-wing nut job?
Yeah, right.
So it's a good reminder to have every day. It's about having diversity of opinion. We have Democracy Now! With Amy Goodman, who some people say, boy, she's really liberal. Some people will hear John Kildare, but boy, he's really conservative or libertarian. the fact is, we need everybody. We need to hear a little of Amy Good. We need a little bit of John Caldera and a little bit of everybody in between. That's what makes a powerful broadcast station at Channel 12, and that's why we have what some people would think we're crazy in putting a microphone and a camera in front of John Caldera every
See,
day.
that's what I like to hear, because from our perspective at Independence News, diversity is diversity of ideology, opinion, thought, and the fact that people can disagree but can actually come together and hash that out, just like, and maybe another time we actually can hash out our real grievances against John, because I have a fair number.
We should be guests on his show. That'd be great.
All right, Dominic, thanks very much,
My
sir.
pleasure.
Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
That was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Great.